What's up, everybody? Coach Cilo here, and welcome to the No Bullshit Six-Figure Sales Podcast. And today, this is one for my high-ticket closers. So last podcast I did had a similar theme to this one, but it was for my solopreneurs. This is for my dogs and gals out there that are on the grind, working your butts off to make it happen for you and for your family. And so if you're a high-ticket closer and you're missing your sales quotas and commissions despite your outward bravado, if you're a high-ticket closer and your public persona is not matching the actual income growth or trajectory that it should be, if you've got a damaged reputation, the clients and the peers are kind of seeing through that facade, you got a loss of confidence as your ego masks the real progress. Or how about if you're doing presentations that feel hollow? You're missing key emotional hooks. Or what about the potential job risk of not meeting your KPIs? So are you not meeting your KPIs? These are some of the things that I kind of want to talk to you guys about today. So if this is happening, it's time to take a look in the mirror and realize that that training that you took, that training they sold you on, that gave you a nice little certificate, that's a big one for me, that says that you have successfully completed the remote closer certification. Guys, nobody gives a flying about that certification. Those certifications don't exist. That was just a nice little marketing scheme so that whoever sold you on taking that course says, and now you can tell people that you are a certified closer. Listen, I'm on your side, all right? I'm one of you. I'm just saying that doesn't mean anything to anybody. It doesn't mean anything to the recruiter. It doesn't mean anything to the offer owner. All that means was that you were sold and that you had the money to afford a program that at the end gave you a certificate. So I know that that hurts, and I know that it may piss you off a little bit or whatever, but that doesn't mean anything. So let's talk about some of these pain points here for you guys, especially if you're not hitting KPIs. Number one, not enough pre-call research on your prospects. Do you know who you're going to be meeting up with? Did you do a little research before calling them? Did you look them up on IG or Facebook? I'm not asking you to become the number one internet stalker in the world. I'm just saying you're about to have a conversation with someone that could quite possibly change their lives and can certainly improve yours if you got the sale. Would you not want to know a little bit more about the person than just their name or whatever the setter or whatever the lead gen that was feeding it to you gave you? Because sometimes taking a look at someone's IG or Facebook or TikTok might just give you an idea who you're talking about. It might give you an idea what things are important to them. And when it comes time to sit and have that conversation about why they haven't taken action, wouldn't it be good to know some of these things? How about failure to build strong rapport and trust quickly? Now, depending on the industry you're in, this conversation could go one of two ways, right? But I'm talking now to my high-ticket closers. And my high-ticket closers, the way you build rapport is by showing that you know what the hell you're talking about. It's by showing from the very get-go authority, knowledge, that you're a leader. It's not that hard, but it is if you don't have a framework. It is if you don't know where to start. And what they taught you in those little classes has nothing to do with it. Nothing. I mean, maybe there's one or two out there that did, but the majority doesn't. Here's another one. Poor time management. Spending too long on the wrong prospects and not enough on the right prospects. That's all on qualification, guys. I don't care what the setter said. I don't care how qualified they are. Let me tell you something. Coming from a business where leads were put in front of me all the time, the more a setter or a marketer wants to tell you how good that lead was, most of the time, the worse that lead was. Right? They just didn't want to get that lead disqualified and it cannot count against them. So you need to have a process in place where you're doing a second qualification aside from the setter, and you need to do it in a way where it doesn't look like it's a qualification so that you know, is this worth spending my time? And guess what? You may discover it's worth spending my time, just not today. Meaning there are some things that we need to clear up. Today's not the day. Those people that spend an hour speaking to somebody only to hear a spousal objection at the end. And I know that some people, oh, yeah, but you can overcome a spouse objection. It depends on who you're talking to. If they're not the ones that make the decision, you've absolutely wasted your time. And it doesn't matter if it's the man or the woman. Nowadays, one of them's going to be the one that wears the pants. It's not always the one that wears the pants, right? So you need to figure out at the beginning of the presentation, if there's a spouse, if there's a business part, you need to figure out, is someone else's opinion important, and do we need to get that person on the call? There's a couple of things that you need to do during that qualifying. And like I said, it's a qualifying process that doesn't sound like a qualifying process, right? And that moment, the reason why you're doing it is there even a possibility of this going down? Meaning, if one of the three things that I teach aren't there, you're not getting that sale today. And if you're not getting that sale today, why the hell are you on that phone? Now, you never hang up the phone without scheduling another call, right? So you're going to reschedule that call for a time when it is, but you're not going to, why are you going to burn your neurons for an hour? Practice, maybe, sure, but now you've burned their neurons for an hour and you may not get that chance later. So make sure you got that part well. And your own time management. How about lack of tailored solutions or personalization in the presentation? So I'm a big script guy. Does that mean I read every word from a script? No. That means that I've read the script so many times that when I talk, it sounds like I'm a freaking powerhouse. But you know what else it means? It means my script is like a tree. It branches out. And depending on what answer they give me is what branch I'm going to. And then that other answer is going to branch me off somewhere else. But what it means is that I'm prepared for every single possibility that could happen there. And then based on their answers and on the discovery that we do, I'm going to tailor the presentation. So no. Being scripted is not just having a word tract. But if you've got that, you're covering all the bases that you're going to need to be able to go where you need to go. How about an over-reliance on discounts instead of value-based selling? If you think that just because you're going to come and discount it at the end, that's going to be enough urgency to get them to move forward, you're an idiot. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't learn how to make that an urgency stack. Of course, that could be an urgency stack. Of course, that could be one of many things that you stack at the end. But the idea is to stack with value, not by decreasing price. Rarely is that ever going to be the issue. Listen, if you get somebody to want to buy it enough, they are going to find a way of doing it. If you dig in their pain, which we'll talk about in just a bit, enough, They are going to find a way of doing it because now the cost of inaction is much greater. That pain is much greater than the pain of having to pay to make the problem go away. How about an inconsistent pipeline management and follow through? Now, pipeline management does happen to have to do with the lead gen. Guess what? If your pipeline isn't solid, you got one of two decisions to make. You either stay or you find another offer. And if you're staying, then guess what? You better put your setter hat on and start booking your own leads, because if not, you're going to starve. Now, would I stay there? Hell no. I'm getting out of there immediately. But in the meanwhile, I still got to put food on the table. But you bet your ass that I'm already looking to move somewhere else, because now I'm doing the job of two. Oh, and you better talk to that offer owner and say, if I'm setting my own appointments, I better get paid as a setter and as a closer. And then if you like that, I personally don't have anything against setting. I love my setters. I'm just saying I have a thing against doing two jobs instead of one. See, we all have reasons why we joined this business. Almost all of us because of the money, but it wasn't just because of the money. It could be because of the geographical freedom, meaning that some of you are sitting in Thailand right now watching this, and I get it because that's me too. Some is because of the time freedom. You just want to have your appointments stacked up, close your closes, make your money, and go out and enjoy your life, whether it's in Thailand or whether it's in Atlanta, Georgia. Who cares? And some, it's a mix of all three. But whatever it is, there's a reason why you chose this type of position. And you're giving up some things. You're giving up some security as well, right? You're giving up insurance. You're giving up all the benefits and all this stuff, whatever. But if you're doing that, then there needs to be a promise, right? Your promise is, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to close every other deal I get, 50%, 40%. But their promise is, I'm going to put enough people in front of you so that when you close that amount, you're making a good living. And if either of you aren't putting that up, then in my opinion, that agreement is null and void. So, inconsistent pipeline. How about lack of adaptability in different sales situations? You got to learn to flow. Just because you have a presentation doesn't mean you can't flow. You got to learn to flow. And not only sales situations. How about seasons? One of the greatest things I mentor on is seasonality. You got to know what season that person is in their life and what season in the year we are in. Man, if you're in a fitness offer and you're in the first quarter of the year, whoo, it's time to reap, because everybody's analyzing their lives compared to last year. Everybody's trying to figure out what they need to do to get to where they wanted to be. You got to know what season you're in. If you're in fourth quarter, you got to change that pitch. Because fourth quarter, people are thinking about all the eating they're going to be doing Thanksgiving and Christmas and how they're not going to work out and what they're going to miss out on. You got to change that pitch. So seasonality is super important. Now let's talk about one of my favorite conversations with my mentees. And that's because this is something that we all suffer from, including myself. I'd like to think that with all the personal development I've had, I've reduced it a bit. But how about ego? And how about ego outpacing your actual results? So listen. We talk about being the authority. We talk about being someone who's sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a force to be reckoned with. Yes, I get it. And when you're with that prospect, you are acting as if you are the person that can get them where they need to go. All of that, understood. I understand faith it till you make it. I get it. Not fake it till you make it. Faith it till you make it. Right? You believe that you're going to become that person, so you're acting like that person now. Not you're acting like someone you're not and never will be. That doesn't make sense. I agree with all of that. But as soon as that sale is done and it's over with, you still have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to tell yourself, this is who I say I am and this is what my bank account says I am. And if those don't meet, you need to have a talk with reality and a talk with yourself. If there are people that are coaching you and mentoring you, you need to have a talk with reality and humble yourself so that you can get better. If you're doing well, salespeople have a really bad memory issue. We forget when we were in starve mode, we forget real quickly we were in starve mode. As soon as you made a $20,000 check, now you're out there blowing it and partying, thinking that's going to be the next 6 months. And it should be if you got your aces in a row. But until you do, keep your ego in check. Be confident. Don't be cocky. There's a difference. Because this ego outpacing results, it creates a deep incongruence that bleeds into your presentation. See, if you're faking and you're not who you say you are, and deep down inside you know you're not who you say you are, when you talk, they can feel it. They may not know it, but they can feel it. You ever decided you weren't going to buy or do something, and when they asked you, you just said, it just doesn't feel right? What the hell is that? It doesn't feel right. That's not a logical explanation. But that feeling, that's your gut telling you something's wrong. And we give that out and they perceive that. So there's nothing more beautiful than being congruent with what you say, being a person of action. If you want people to say yes to you today because you're making sense, then you also have to be the type of person that can make a decision today because it makes sense. You also have to be the type of person that if you say you're going to do something, you do it. Because if not, that incongruency, it bleeds out and they can tell. And then the biggest one, which was the biggest one last week as well, is failing to dive deep and dig deep into their pain without uncovering the true emotional drivers. Until you learn how to do that, you're not going to close at a high level. If you've got a great, and I mean a really, really good sales process, a really good one, you might be able to get away a little bit with it because the process is already going to help you do some of that. But at that point, it's not you, it's the pitch. And that's okay. When you join a team, if you're joining a team that's already a team of killers, the first thing they do is give you a pitch deck. And why? Because that pitch deck was already designed to do the heavy lifting for you. But the day you grow up and wear the big boy pants is when you realize that by digging deep into that pain and being able to drive a wedge between where they are and where they want to be, and then you graduate in being able to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, that's where it's over. Guys, I made a little thing for you. It's called the 15-minute pitch. And no, it's not a 15-minute pitch. But you can read it in 15 minutes. And it'll give you some frameworks. I'm not giving you the sauce, all right? But I'm giving you the framework to help you get better at what you're doing. I want you all to succeed. It's called the No BS Six-Figure Sales Podcast because I really get happy. My mission is to help other people make six figures. And so for those of you that go ahead and put the message 15-minute pitch downstairs, down there somewhere. I was going to say downstairs. What the hell? I'll send it to you for free. Guys, my name is Coach Cilo. I have helped thousands of high-ticket closers and sales pros reach, attain, maintain six figures. You keep listening to me. You'll be the next. I am out of here.